Am I on the air?
You are on the air.
Hey, friend. How you doing?
You told me that you would be on the air today, and lo and behold, that's where you
I'm
are.
ready. I was sitting looking at my phone, waiting for it to ring today.
There are some people that I have called so many times on this podcast, radio show, YouTube video without video, and at this point, if they picked up, I would be disappointed.
Yeah. Man, I didn't realize this came out as a YouTube video without video.
Okay, so that's a little misleading. There is video. It's a black
Mhm.
screen with a rotating. It looks kind of like the crosshairs of a target, and it's spinning.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I tried really hard to get the webcam function working. The monitor on this computer
Mhm.
wouldn't. It doesn't have a webcam, and this is the only computer that I can plug my audio inbox into for the mic. So
Right.
I decided, after trying to make my iPad into a mobile monitor for a really long time, I settled on this spinning target. And that's
Yeah, I mean, who needs audio who needs video anyway? Everyone needs audio.
I couldn't bear the thought. After doing a bunch of Zoom conversations, I couldn't bear the thought of looking at myself while trying to do this thing that I'm doing every day.
Yeah, how has this been going, this project of calling people every day? Have you been catching people?
Yeah, it's really funny. There are often times where I will call like 6 or 7 people and no one will pick up. And so it's evolved. It's evolved into feeling less and less like a project and more into what the original idea was, which is literally just talking to a friend for an hour.
Yeah.
To the point where I do not even talk before anyone picks up. I don't say a word. I just let music play because I can't do it anymore. I felt like I sounded like Mark Maron or something, almost like just the.
Yeah, were you talking about your cat?
Yeah, I don't even have a cat, and I was talking about Mark Maron's cats. So what have you been up to lately? You and Nate got that place now. You got that room, I'm sure, all set up as like a
I kind of
a meat cave.
Yeah, it's a meat cave. It's our man cave. I hung up a sign that said "man cave."
Nice.
We got like actually, it's sitting empty. I'm using it as sort of overflow from the rest of our house. Yeah. Everything that just kind of got dumped in there.
As happens.
But today, I was helping Nate. His computer stopped working. It stopped playing sound. So I was trying to see what was going on with that. He's had a hell of a time with computers. His one computer died, and then he went and drove all the way to his work and got another computer, and that one died.
Oh, and wow.
So he seemed to be particularly stressed about it. He was in a low place.
Sure. Yeah, no, all little stresses kind of build into a frenzy of existential crisis at this point.
Yeah, when you can't leave your house.
Yeah, and then your computer goes.
Yeah, that's your one door to the world.
That's your one thing. That's your job, your pleasure center, your third eye.
God, actually, I just saw something today on the computer. Speaking of computers,
yeah.
There was like a protest for people who want to end this quarantine and get back to work, and mostly libertarian people.
Sure.
But one person had their kid hold a sign that said "Work is freedom."
That's a super communist, socialist. That's like what they would put up in the. I don't remember if this was like a Nazi work camp or like a Russian gulag, but hard work will set you free or something.
Yeah, yeah. No, that the thing that's funny about it is that's almost exactly what it said over this one concentration camp.
Right.
But damn.
It's insane. I never thought I would see that. Like I was sure, like, I mean, it felt like so much right before this all started. Like Jesus, why don't we just shut everything down? You know?
Yeah.
And then like it did shut down, and I was like, now like no one's gonna want to do their job that they already felt was meaningless. Like,
yeah, when
we're gonna have to change everything around, right?
Yeah, it's weird too because I'm on a walk right now, and I went on a walk yesterday, and it occurred to me how little I knew my neighborhood that I live in. Hadn't actually even like ever walked around and see who lives near me.
Yeah,
and that is kind of weird. Like the fact that I don't know, just the way that your life is set up.
Yeah,
all of a sudden occurs to you.
Yeah,
and then like
totally.
I'm walking around thinking like, who are these people? Like who lives here?
I know.
And it's weird too, just to think about the idea that there are homeowners, because I think I know of everybody I know in LA. Maybe I know one or two people who own a home. Maybe one.
Yeah, same with me. Same with me. I know.
So I'm like,
maybe. God, I can think of two people off the top of my head that I know that own homes in Los Angeles.
Yeah, and it's just weird to think about how weird it is to even own a home. Like,
yeah,
just weird.
It's just strange. And isn't it weird to think that the place you live is owned, but not by you?
By a company who doesn't even they probably mostly by a company of people who honestly probably mostly forget that we even exist.
Oh, completely. And it's just like an automatic payment that they receive.
Yeah.
And it's also
because when we have trouble, we call them, and then they're always like, "Wait, which unit are you?"
Yeah.
And you can tell they have a million. They don't really. Each one doesn't mean anything to them.
Oh, totally. Like the one time that your rent is late, you get these automatic bills added to it, and then and it's impossible to fight it. They just act like,
right.
I've done that where I've called people and been like one time I had this issue where my bank was mailing a check to them monthly, automatically. And somehow it just didn't happen. The bank didn't mail it, or they mailed it and then the bank got it back. It got sent back in the mail or something like that. I don't know exactly what happened. All I know is they didn't get the rent. So I had a late charge, even though it showed that my bank had tried to mail this check. And everybody I talked to at this corporation that owns this building was just I don't know, man, it's completely out of our hands. It was in no one's hands. It was just this whole system has been set up and it's nothing we can do now. It's just, we got to move forward. And then another time they accidentally pulled, the system accidentally pulled twice as much money out of my account.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of the $1,400, it pulled out $3,000 all at once. And I happened to have almost exactly that amount of money. So then I was luckily it didn't completely clean me out. You know what I mean? So I didn't get bank late charges, but then I was just hey, you guys did this, and they were just oh, okay. Do you want it back, or do you want that to just be next month? And I'm wait, that's not cool. How come when I fuck up, it's a penalty, and when you guys fuck up, it's no big deal?
Well, yeah, and I mean, I feel all of society is set up so that things are. No one is culpable for anything. It's never in anyone's hands. Everyone can always just say hey, listen, it's not my problem. I actually feel if society got to the point that we were going to go and get the guillotines and go after the people, I think it would be hard to even find them. The people who just fuck you over, it's hard to even know who to throw stones at, because it's so dispersed.
It would totally be an Office Space type scenario where we're just smashing copiers in the woods, because it would all come back to some random asinine piece of technology. I mean, that's the thing. There's part of me that truly that kind of reflects my. I mean, it shows that I've grown up in this society, because it really kind of reflects my mentality and my lack of a belief in good or evil, and that like everything that is good is also bad, and same like everything, you know what I mean? Like I don't believe in justice, I don't believe in anything. And so like so
I'm proud of you, man.
So and so
you should sell shirts for this podcast that say I don't believe in justice, I don't believe in anything.
Yeah, I think I could try to sell it to the one person listening. And anyway, like, and you know, and I don't view that as like even that belief, as I don't hold that strongly. But so anyway, that kind of reflects that feeling of like, yeah, I don't know whose fault it is. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't think it's your guys' fault that you work at this landlord agency or whatever. I think it's not a great system, but I don't think it's your fault. So like, the only thing I just want to reverse the system where like that same mentality can't be used for anybody in the lower class of just like maybe these people don't need to go to prison for things that like we completely forgive in other classes. Like,
right. Yeah. Or like we invent things just to like, we like almost look at things that they do and then just say like, well, that's an offense that gets you locked up.
Yeah.
Dude, I came up with a new conspiracy theory though.
Oh, lay it on me.
I think this is an original, but I was thinking, just based on this whole pandemic thing, I was thinking, you know how there's that CRISPR technology where you can like edit genes and stuff? I don't really know how it works or fully what it is, even though I've listened to like 3 podcasts about it. I still don't really get it.
Yeah, I don't.
But I know it's a thing.
Yeah.
But so my conspiracy theory is all these new technologies eventually come down in price and get to the point that anybody can have them. It might take a while, but in like 10, 20, 30 years, when anybody can have a CRISPR on their computer and very easily edit any sort of virus or gene or whatever and cook up any kind of plague they want, what if the next big thing, instead of a lone gunman in a mass shooting or a school shooting, what if the next thing we start seeing is like a mass plague? Like that's got to happen at some point, right?
Certainly, right? Yeah, you just look at the Columbine kids, and like their plan was to try. They were going to take it to like full terrorism level. So like, why if that was like we already have 3D printed guns, why not viruses?
And you can get so many more people.
Yeah, of course. But then what's
not that I want to put that out there and maybe like will it into existence. I don't want that to happen. I'm just saying.
Oh no, I'm
something
sure
that occurred to me.
Yeah, I'm sure I've heard similar things on Rogan. So maybe that was you on Rogan. But yeah, I think that is definitely the fear, or that is a fear. It, like a lot of this is like but for that sort of technology to happen, like all kinds of amazing technologies would happen first, I think, like more profitable ones. Like the one thing I would look forward to is like kind of like electronic like being able to make like all of the like mind enhancing drugs and things. Like a hallucinogen revolution in the I don't know. I feel like one thing that I've been thinking about lately is that is a fear that like we're in like a post-revolution society, like that, like no matter what happens, like when I look at like I watched a documentary about like kind of the populist movements in Brazil fairly recently, and it just seemed like a nightmare. The two, like the populist, anytime like a populist movement has come through, and I would be scared of any kind of revolution in America, of any form of populism taking over, no matter how positive it sounded at first, and with the complete understanding that like this system is you know, genocidal and horrible as is. But so the only thing that I feel like could potentially, because, and also like if there is a revolution and we completely like destabilize everything as far as like the powers that be, like there's still like giant superpowers in the world now that will like easily push their business and industry into our, you know what I mean? Like just England, China, Russia, all these places will like gladly start putting factories in and their own police forces to then enforce the factories and like whatever. That people will gladly take the jobs in if things got dark enough. Anyway, it wouldn't be much worse.
If there was a revolution, I could see like America kind of like kind of taking the shape of Europe in like the Middle Ages, where there's just different kingdoms around the country. Like one
like Yugoslavia,
based on company.
Like exactly what happened in Yugoslavia, where it just like turned state against state, essentially. Like I would compare it to like if Michigan and Ohio went to forever war. Like, but
they did.
But like the only thing, Jesus says hi. But the only thing that seems like plausible when I look at like this situation and how helpless we all are at like the hands of Amazon and things, like is just like some kind of like enlightenment type thing, like a new renaissance of sorts, of just people all getting just like a little bit smarter somehow through evolutionary need. But I
would hope so, or at least more empathetic. Yeah. I mean, that would be a start.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think I saw some podcast about how empathy is actually pretty destructive.
Really?
I heard some kind of podcast. Well, just kind of like, you know how almost all of like the terrible movements in the world start out of a positive idea, kind of, or like a and then it's corrupted and then it's a racket at a certain point or whatever. Like it was kind of that thing that like empathy turns into like victimhood, which turns into like, trying to get justice, which turns into revenge, which like that sort of thing. It was a real Yoda type logic.
Yeah, you have to remember what Ben Shapiro says. Facts don't care about your feelings.
Yeah. Ben Shapiro, oh my God. So I've been wishing death on a lot of people, and I really feel like if that guy, I just like everything about him is one of the most annoying people maybe in the world.
He's every annoying person you've ever been stuck in an elevator with compressed into one person.
Yeah, just like at youthful parties, there was that guy there somewhere.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh man, you know who else I'm gonna if we're gonna have a little bit of just like hatred of public figures, I want to go at Elon Musk real quick.
Oh yeah.
Elon Musk recently said that he said to shareholders that this entire quarantine was fascist and that people should have the option of staying home if they want to, but they shouldn't be forced to and have their liberties taken away. Yeah. And then today on Twitter, he put something up saying, "I'm giving away all of my possessions. I don't even own my home." I'm like, what?
Whoa, so he's just gone stark raving mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the fear when corporate power is like more powerful than many governments. That like then the king gets crazy. You know what I mean? He's like a genuine Rick and Morty level mad scientist who makes his own rockets and like, and now he's gone fucking nuts. Like big fucking surprise.
Yeah, it's like a weird thing too, where like also bragging that you don't have possessions or something. Like his whole thing has been consistently convincing other rich people to give him money to fund all this stuff. So you don't really have to own stuff. You're just like this weird money making guru guy that people think is like real. Like he's a good halfway point of like rich people think that he's like artistic and creative and outside the box, but anybody who actually is creative just looks at him as like sort of a dullard, I guess.
Yeah.
And
like artistically.
Except for Grimes.
Except for Grimes. But you can never explain what draws a human to love another human. It's never based on merit. But he's like, he definitely gets like a lot of he'll get a lot of credit for being like environmentally friendly, but it's like so mixed in with industry that it's just like it how could it not get corrupted at any point? Like I wonder at some point, like if you're really talking conspiracy, like is this the Illuminati essentially being like, okay, so humans are definitely 100% going to destroy the world with carbon. They all know it at this point. Everybody knows it except for like whatever the 10% of dullards that don't believe it. Everybody knows it, but we don't change anything. Like the least, like unless it's like people don't even like recycle unless it's like the utmost of convenient. And even then we don't really understand how it works any more than we understand like how our cell phones work. And like so like clearly we are on a path of destruction. Is this like the Illuminati being like, all right, we need a virus. It's not going to kill everybody, but everyone's going to have to just like not drive indefinitely, like not go anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, like at least not fly all the time. Like I was reading this fucking LA Times thing about like all these directors and producers trying to decide like what was going to happen with movies and stuff. And the one thing they all agreed on was like, yeah, it turned out that like all this flying across the country to meet up with an actor or another producer was pretty much not at all important. 90% of those meetings could have happened over Zoom and the rest of them didn't need to happen at all. It was just
wow.
Like, and it's like, yeah, that's totally the case. Like we're all finding out like people's jobs are being like yeah, we're gonna go back when stuff reopens to the office and things, and it's like, but you've been doing it without. You didn't.
Yeah,
like, it works now. I feel the same way about all the fucking relief shit that like the government's provided stuff for people, and it's like it's working. It's fine.
Right. Yeah. Now people are actually like also. People are spending the money too. I noticed yesterday. I think a lot of people got their money went through yesterday. I did, and I saw a line around the building at the weed dispensary. So that got totally right back into the economy.
Yeah, Kevin said that he noticed his neighbor put up like a one of those like mini-sized pools, like the day after everybody got all their checks. Like. How are you guys been doing with the heat? I mean, it's kind of cooled down the last couple days, but
yeah, I don't know. I've been like walking around just wearing shorts and no shirt a lot.
Yeah,
because I have like a little wall unit air conditioner, but when I have it in, I can't just have my window open, and I'd rather just have my window open. So
okay,
I'm dealing. My place doesn't. It's not so bad yet, and it takes a while for it to get too bad. It's like kind of covered in shade and semi-underground, so it doesn't
nice.
get so hot.
Yeah, I like Cheese and I made like headbands and then like soaked them in water and put them in the freezer when it was bad, and then just like watched movies all day, occasionally putting our headbands back in the freezer.
Oh, incredible!
Oh, it worked
great.
It worked great. So
Nate used to do a thing. He used to freeze water bottles, and then he would just put them strategically on his bed.
Oh
and sleep, like cuddled with frozen water bottles.
I remember that. Yeah, that's the thing. Like we have an air conditioning window unit in our bedroom that I put on at night because like I can't sleep in the heat. But it's during the day that it's just like crazy. I used to go see movies and stuff. Do you think you'll go to see concerts in the summer?
If they reopen, it seems like all the tours are canceled till the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't know. So I hear that, but then I've also heard people like every time I watch like a new music video or something released, like whoever the musician is that I like, it'll say like tour date coming up in July or something. And
there was a couple concerts that were coming up that I was planning on going to that I just got the email that their whole tour was canceled, and they're like, see you in 2021.
Yeah, I don't see how they could commit to it, because I feel like there would be a level of, even if people, okay, so there's been like polls done asking people, would you go to a concert? Chisa was telling me about this today. And the vast majority of the poll said that they would not go see concerts, and And I was thinking like that it's different to be asked in a poll whether you would go see a concert than it is if
Yeah.
like your favorite musician is doing a concert and you've been trapped inside for a long time and you're like, okay,
That's a really good point.
this thing is happening. Somebody's going to this because it's happening. Why wouldn't I just go too? You know what I mean? Like you
Oh,
might
yeah.
bend the rules at that point. And then I'm
Gotta
wondering
say,
like,
yeah.
yeah, but then also I feel like people would be like the musicians themselves would be shamed. The venues would be maybe they would just cancel it. I don't
Oh,
know.
right. Yeah, well, it depends too on the like insurance liability of the venue. You know, if they want to risk getting sued over someone catching COVID in their venue.
Right. Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
And apparently, that's kind of a thing that Republicans are doing behind the scenes at the moment. Is they're talking about doing another round of these relief benefits, and the main sticking point with Republicans is they want to put something in there so that employees not sue their employer for getting COVID from them from being forced to work.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Oh,
And
they
on
can't.
top of that,
Wait, hold on. You cut out a little bit. You say they can't sue their employer for getting COVID?
employees cannot call your catching COVID from being forced to work there.
Okay, I see.
And yeah, now Trump is actually leaving Washington for the first time since this whole thing started to fly to this meatpacking plant to basically compel them to stay open. Because it's like to the food chain, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's times at the moment right now.
Oh, you're cutting out a little bit.
Shit. Well,
You going on a walk?
yeah, I'm gonna turn around so that I'm in a zone that is bad. But can you hear me?
Yeah, you're in the danger zone. I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah, I'm walking back towards to the healthy zone.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know like what's gonna happen. I feel like it seems like stuff's gonna start reopening. People are gonna be kind of like the problem is it seems like they're gonna put the impetus on the workers themselves to be like, I mean, it's up to you. Do you want to starve or do you want to risk getting COVID? Like,
right.
You know, it seems like it's going to be that way. And that makes sense that they would then push for those sorts of lack of workers' rights to litigate or whatever.
Yeah. I got to say, though, just to go back to what you were talking about with concerts,
yeah,
I'm finding just like when you take away something from me, it makes me want it more.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I'm having this extreme thirst to go to a concert, even though, like, when I think about it, as I've aged, I go to concerts less and less basically every year. Like, when I was, like, 17, I tried to go to a concert every single weekend.
Totally.
If I could. But then, probably in my, like, early 30s, it's, like, 3-4 times a year, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Same with me.
So, now that, like, I've gone, like, 2 months, I'm like, God damn, I want to go see a show.
Yeah. I know. It's like, and I think it's really just kind of, it's like it's like convincing yourself that like it would be fine. Like the way a person might with like some kind of ex or something, like they would remember the person that they first got together with, who they thought that person was. And and like I think it would be like that. Like you'd actually go to the concert and be like, I am so scared and uncomfortable and I shouldn't have done this.
Yeah, I know, that's the other thing. I couldn't like enjoy it or get out of my head, especially too because I'd probably smoke weed and I'd have the paranoia on top of that where I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna fucking die for this band.
Yeah,
and I don't like 2 other songs. I just like the singles. I don't even like the deep cuts.
Yeah, you'd feel like you were like those people out on the beach, like here I am out to see fucking Maroon 5. I don't know who go see, but
oh, got to die for Maroon 5.
Yeah, It would be something like that. But I mean, I've been feeling that way just about the tour because like there's a part of me that's just constantly trying to justify that like maybe I'll still be able to tour someday, and it doesn't.
I know.
It just,
I've talked so much about the Everything's Terrible tour.
Yeah.
I mean, is it? I think is it like officially canceled now, or is it still up in the air?
It is still technically up in the air, but Nick doesn't seem hopeful. Like, I already wrote the live show. They're still working on the movie, and Nick is still working on costumes now.
Yeah.
Whether, I mean, it doesn't seem likely because, like, even if the states are open, because, like, all these states are opening up early. So, like, when, you know, deaths start going back up again and cases start going back up, it seems like right around the time when, you know, they'll have to shut it down again. And then even if they don't shut it down, even if the venue is open and lets us do it, like, what will that be, like half capacity or something? You know what I mean?
Right.
Will it even make financial sense, especially considering that it seems like it would be a tremendous health risk for people? Like, is it even ethical to, like, ask your fans to go to a show even if they want to, like, you know?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, it's weird to think, but I don't know, everything is terrible has this almost like curse now. I'm seeing it on these tours where there's always some sort of like mass terrible thing that happens and somehow gets in the way. And it was just making me think of, like, I mean, on their last tour, they had to cancel a show in Texas because there was a fucking mass shooting in the town. And then I'm thinking, like, I keep seeing posts online about, it's basically millennials trying to explain to boomers who, what millennials have been through, basically saying, in middle school, 9/11 happened. In our early 20s, the 2008 recession happened, and now this is happening. And it's just amazing to think, like, in Nick's touring career, he's like, well, on my last tour, I couldn't get canceled because of that mass shooting, but then the next tour was canceled because of the mass pandemic. It's just like, how do you even explain to anyone the fucking times we live in?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's just like, this is going to erase everything. It's all just going to be this from now on. Feels like, I don't know. But then again, the rate at which shit moves, you know what I mean? Like, maybe we'll still just be talking about, like, I don't know. Maybe, like, after this is all done, we'll be talking about R. Kelly again and be like, oh yeah, remember that pandemic thing?
Oh, I think unless this becomes like a thing that happens all the time with new, like, there's like COVID-20, COVID-2021, COVID.
Yeah.
Every year there's a new COVID, which I guess I could see happening. I mean,
that seems to be a potential because, like, apparently your immunity may only last like a year, even if you get it.
Yeah.
So this could be the new flu.
And like, look how many times some sort of disease has jumped from an animal to a human. And there was, like, Ebola did that. I think SARS did that. Bird flu, swine flu. It just keeps happening. And, like, all of the things that made COVID spread so fast, like the fact that we're all so tied together and people can visit any part of the world so quickly.
Yeah.
That's still in place. So I could just see, like, okay, finally we got the vaccine for COVID, and then all of a sudden a new disease happens and we don't have the vaccine and we have to shut the whole thing down again. Like,
right. And they still don't have a vaccine for, like, AIDS, you know?
Right.
Like, and that's the other thing is, like, I was watching a bunch of YouTube videos about the old plagues and stuff, and bubonic plague is still a thing.
Oh, really?
9 people a year get bubonic plague in the United States. Get the fucking bubonic plague.
Wow.
Isn't that
That's
crazy?
So old school.
Yeah.
Was it like Amish people getting it?
I don't know. It spreads through rats and the, like, fleas that are on the rats.
Wow.
Yeah. But, like, now they have, antibiotics and stuff, so people don't, like, die from it. But it was still somewhat, I mean, still like Cheese and I just watched this pretty cool documentary about Baltimore and rats, basically.
Yeah.
Anyway, and they were talking about how America was scared during World War II that, like, somebody, that the other side was going to let's try to spread the bubonic plague through rats. And so that's when they really started trying to develop, like, rat poison and shit like that.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they they started training and militarizing rat terriers to go after their rats.
They haven't released those files yet, but if they probably only considered that rats would be militarized if they were already doing it.
Oh shit! Yeah, then they had to militarize the rats. Damn.
There's still rat soldiers that don't know the war is over, still hunted down.
Oh man. Oh man. Man, speaking of bubonic plague, actually, I always thought that was the biggest plague that's ever hit humanity, and I recently found out that is technically not true. The actual, in terms of numbers, like most amount of people who have died from a plague is from the plague that happened when Europeans first came to America and like gave their diseases to Native Americans. That like wiped out the whole continent.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say because like in wow, that is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
And
it's funny too because the Europeans apparently didn't really realize it. So like they visited once in like the late 1400s or whatever, and then didn't come back until like 10, 20, 30 years later. And then when they came back, they're like, "Whoa, this place is empty!" Like, whoa, and like, they didn't realize. Because you fucking killed everybody.
That's insane. Like, just thinking, like, without even like the modern technology of transportation and things, that could still travel. You know what I mean? Like, you think of it as like, you just realize like this was a very intricate system of cities, and societies, and hierarchies and things.
Yep.
Yeah, because like I think it was the second time, like the second bubonic plague that came around, like I think it was like 200 years after the original one that like was a huge plague. The second one killed it killed like half of England. It killed half of it killed literally like half of the population of the world. Now, I don't know if they're counting in that, now that you say that, if they were counting, indigenous peoples around the world or not, or if that's just like a racist thing that was left out of that statistic. But yeah, it was something like
Call out the statistics.
Yeah, they listed the world population as like 400 million at the time, and it killed like 200 million people.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Damn. Like, imagine if you survived, how kind of nice it would be. Like, all of a sudden, like, I mean, it would suck that, like, probably a lot of people you knew died, but on the other hand, you'd be like, shit, the houses next to me are just flat out empty. We're expanding, man.
Yeah, totally. That's like, and apparently that's where like workers' rights like really started, was that like there was such a shortage of laborers that the like rich no longer had like you know what I mean? There was like, instead of having like 100 people working for them, creating all this like excess, it actually like they only had like 5. And so like if those 5 stopped working, they'd just be like, well, okay, now I've got no workers.
I never even thought about that.
Yeah, so that's like what they had bargaining power then. That's what developed.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because like that is also how capitalism developed. So it's like it started off as like this like change. It was that death of feudalism, then the beginning of capitalism. So maybe this will be the death of capitalism and the beginning of, well, hopefully not feudalism.
Oh man, maybe we'll get some kind of techno feudalism where like we're peasants and we work for like Elon Musk and he like watches us with drones, like armed drones.
Yeah, that's probably what is going to happen. And he's going to tell us that how free we are too. That's the annoying thing. The drones, as they're shooting at us, are going to be like, we free you with these bullets. I was driving, speaking of just like benefits of everybody dying. I was driving to Regis' place yesterday to drop off some extra baked goods that we had made, and like and it took like 2 seconds, and it was like at 5 p.m. and it was just like nobody out in the road, and I was like, that's when I was really thinking of that conspiracy theory of like, this is actually what saves mankind.
Yeah, I mean, If so, thank you, Illuminati. I don't say it enough. I feel like I need to send the Illuminati a gift basket or something.
Man, they've been getting such a bad rap.
Yeah, I'm going to send them an edible arrangement. It looks like flowers, but you can eat it. Better.
Yeah, I don't know who you send it to. I guess the Jews.
Yeah, or George Soros, I guess.
George Soros.
I mean, he already pays me so much to protest, but I should probably send him some sort of token.
Yeah, that's true. We are banking a lot. Us as liberals are really, I mean, we get that paycheck all the time.
That's the thing conservatives don't know. For any conservative listening, we just got 2 checks. We got Trump's check, but we also got Soros's check.
Oh, that Soros check made the Trump check look like nothing.
Yeah, dude.
Jump change.
Oh, there is a protest going on at City Hall today for May Day.
Oh, yeah. That's
right.
I
was considering it, but then also, like, it's weird because it's like basically a protest to get a rent freeze, I think.
Yeah. This is supposed to be a month of international rent protest, Chisa told me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I wanted to go, but then also I'm kind of afraid of congregating too. So I'm like, conflicted.
I don't ethically don't know what the right move is there.
Yeah.
I'm sure the people protesting for rent are being socially distance minded as well.
Yeah, I saw some videos from it. It looked like it was like a lot of people standing far apart from each other, like shouting through bullhorns at the City Hall.
Yeah.
So
it seemed like I don't know if you've watched any videos of like people moving into like the vacant lot or vacant houses that the transit company, like the city transit owned. They were going to demolish basically this whole neighborhood to build a new line. And then building the new subway line got canceled. So there were all these just vacant homes that they owned. And some of them they've owned for like a decade and have been vacant for a decade. And so people are getting moved in as kind of a protest and just as a home. And because it's like in the video there were like neighbors like yelling at the person as they were just like outside like tending to a garden. And they were like, pay your rent. Like while the reporter was trying to ask him questions, and the reporter's like, yeah, those guys yell at you a lot. And they're like, oh yeah, they yell at us. And like, we want to pay rent, but like, it's just fucking crazy. They just
also like, what does it benefit you? Like, otherwise the house sits empty. That makes you happy. But if someone's in the house, that makes you mad.
That's the thing. Okay. People are just so concerned with that. That's why I think that like concerts will happen again, is that like it's not even that people want to go to the concert. It's just the idea that a concert is happening and they don't get to go. Like it's just the idea that someone else is enjoying something that.
Oh my God. What if we just start seeing rich people who have all like taken the test and proved that they're all immune, all doing concerts, and then we all just have to sit there and be jealous?
That is 100% what's going to happen. Like if not already happening, like totally that is what is going to happen. And it is going to drive the people that are already protesting in Indiana and Michigan fucking insane because those people are definitely going to get sick. They did not look like a healthy bunch. And it's going to drive them insane. That might I don't even know.
They're losing it as is.
Oh yeah, they're going
people
nuts.
In Michigan this morning stormed the state government with guns. Like they went inside of the state capitol thing.
No shit.
Yeah.
Did your brother go?
Oh man, you should let him know. And I also found out that the thing that really made all these people mad and like what spurred all of these protests in the first place is a lot of people in Michigan have what they call in the Midwest a cottage up north, which is just like a place, like a small little, almost a house that people use to go hunting, essentially.
Yeah, I know all about it. My family vacations in northern Michigan once a year.
Oh, okay. Okay, you know it then.
I know all about
the governor basically told people like, hey, we're quarantining and you can't go up to your little cottage to ride this out because those places don't have hospitals adequate in case you start spreading it to these tiny little towns.
Yeah.
And then that made the people flip the fuck out.
Yeah.
And then they're like, all right. But it was just like that go to your second house. Like, what a little... I don't know. It just seems like a spoiled little baby tantrum at that point.
It makes no sense. Any of the, like, I was watching a thing on Georgia reopening, and this one lady, like, who just seemed like a nice old lady, just kind of was just like, they just showed her like perusing through some shirts at a little store, and she just says to the camera, she goes, I mean, I'm gonna keep social distancing, but I just thought I'd do a little shopping. And and like, not to demean the accent or anything, but also because accents are hilarious. But and it was just so funny because it's like, who's not shopping right now? Everybody's shopping. What are you talking about? I see outside of our place, I see like 5 of those like Amazon windowless vans, like fucking 5 a day, if not more, of just people delivering fucking whatever, whatever it is. Like the idea that like, it's not, like you said, like it's not, people aren't protesting that other people don't have homes. They're protesting that they're not allowed to go to their second home. Like people aren't protesting that, like,
also their first home has most of these people, their first home has like a backyard. Like, everybody in LA has been in their little apartment.
Yeah. Oh my God. I think about just how hard it must be to be in New York. I can't even imagine. Like, we think we don't have much space here in Los Angeles, but like all the apartments I've stayed in New York with friends or whatever have been like just little closets. But and then people are protesting for their second homes, don't care if anybody's homeless, and then people are also not protesting that like a lower class of workers without rights are being forced to like deliver petty items to us and box them up, but they're protesting that they can't go to the store physically to do it. It's insane. It's just insane. Like, it just really confirms the fact that like, I don't see like malice in these people. I just see like just a false perception of the world. And
but it's also funny too to think like, they're like, we got to reopen society. Society has to get back. When you talk about society, what you're actually talking about is like Red Robin, Fuddruckers, Noodles and Company. Like, what are the restaurants in their town? Like,
exactly. It's those, and it's prisons. That's like basically what it is. It's like Walmart, 5 corporate restaurants, and prison is what they want to open back. Like, that's their idea of what culture is, essentially. And they're going to be going to concerts 100%. You and I are going to be jealous, without a doubt.
Yeah. Probably the other people who are going to go to concerts are people in the South who just don't care.
Yeah.
Like, we're probably going to see like a gigantic Leonard Skinner concert in like 2 weeks.
Oh, totally. It's just like what Ash was saying, like the freedom of just being a total dirtbag. It's so unfair. Just watching people like completely not give a shit about anything. And framing it in a way that they're heroes, like when there are actual healthcare working heroes around us, and anyone who's delivering an Amazon box is a hero around us, and being like, I'm a hero because because I want you guys to work. Like,
yeah, I think it's almost like a casual nihilism where it's like, I know that this is bad for other people because if I catch this thing, I can spread it and potentially kill vulnerable people, but I want to do for me right now, so who cares?
Yeah, I gotta do me. I think that is the main catchphrase. Listen, I gotta do me right now.
I got other shit to focus on. Sorry.
Oh man, I've been watching Review. Did you ever watch Review with Andy Daly?
Yes, I love Review. They just came out with it on DVD, I think.
Oh my God.
I kind of want to get the DVDs because they have like, I guess, commentaries and stuff.
Oh, that would be
love
amazing.
That one.
I like
15
I
pancakes,
loved it.
divorce, 30 pancakes is like a perfect
It's
piece of comedy.
one of the funniest thing I've ever seen. That one is amazing. In the second, so I've been watching the second season because I realized that I just like stopped because I didn't have Comedy Central when the second season came out, and so I watched the first couple episodes like over at Lurs, and then just kind of forgot about it, you know. And so I realized like I hadn't seen 6 of those episodes, and they made 4 episodes. They let them make like 4 episodes to finish it off for a third season. And so I've been watching that. The fucking he literally should have won a fucking Emmy. Just like the episode in the second season where he gets the perfect body and the cult is happening is the funniest piece of anything I've ever seen. I was just laughing so hard yesterday.
Have you ever seen the Australian show that it's based on?
Julian was telling me about that yesterday. I have not, and I didn't even realize it was based on an Australian show. Did you watch both?
I've seen both. They're both good in very different ways, and I think it's like the same idea where it's a guy who reviews life experiences, and this review process starts to make his life fall apart. But Andy Daly kind of improves on it, I think, because he plays the guy as sort of like, he's likable enough that you can get why he's been able to convince people to go along on this fucking thing. And he also has that producer goading him into it. The producer's like, that dude is like one of the funniest people
he's very
in the show. Really subtle acting.
Well, I think that is it. Is like, what is so great about his performance is, like you said, he's very likable. And like, I think what's so admirable about the character, despite the fact that he's clearly like on some level a sociopath and like maybe even a psychopath, is that it's that he has this code. Like, it's the same thing. It's like, it's not based in any sort of ethical moralistic concern. It is just about like honesty and integrity for the show. And it's like so nonsensical and just the goofiest fucking show, and yet gets so dark as well.
Yeah. See, because in the Australian one, the guy is sort of more overtly hostile and he's a lot less likable. He's just like kind of a piece of shit. And even though the show's funny, I feel like it doesn't work as well because at a certain point you're like, why is anybody even around him? He's like such a piece of shit. But
yeah. I can't think of many Australian shows that I've watched.
Yeah, this might have been my first Australian show.
Real trailblazer.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking like, how much Australian media have I consumed? I guess the Mad Max movies are Australian.
Yeah, there's been some like Australian bands. Mad Max movies are great, by the way.
Oh yeah, they're fantastic.
I know I'd seen the first one back in high school, but I fairly recently watched the other ones, and the second one is fantastic.
Oh yeah, I think most people agree that's the best one.
Yeah, so fun. And the Thunderdome one was pretty fun too, actually. It's like,
there's good moments.
Yeah, it's strange.
It's a little bit silly.
It's so silly. The kids and stuff.
Is the third one the one that has Master Blaster, or is that the second one? I think it's the third one.
I forget. I think the third one's the one with like the village of
Tina
like
Turner.
Children.
Yeah. Well, I remember Tina Turner's in it, and I remember. It's Beyond Thunderdome. Beyond Thunderdome is the third one.
Right.
And they fight in the Thunderdome.
That is the one with Master Blaster. That's like the little guy on top of the big guy.
Yeah, and because Master and Blaster run Barter Town. They think really Tina Turner does.
Right. That's right. What a cool movie. Honestly, that new Mad Max was like fucking badass. It was one of the best movies made in the last like
Fury Road.
Yeah, so fucking
cool. I love that movie, but I also saw they came out with like a weird version where it's like they I don't know, like sepia toned the whole movie. They like tinted the whole movie like gold or something. It's like a weird special edition. It's kind of like this weird trend that's happening in movies. I don't know if you've noticed, but like also what was the movie? Parasite. They came out with like a black and white version of that in theaters. And it's like, but they filmed it in color. Like, why are you just arbitrarily turning it to black and white? Like,
that sounds like a terrible idea.
Yeah, I don't get
like the George Lucas thing of like, hey, I'm gonna add this extra funny scene that I wanted to have in there. Like, just make a different movie.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of those things where they're just like, well, this movie did pretty well. You want to just re-release it somehow? Oh, yeah, make it, just take away the color. But actually take away one element of it and then charge them the same price.
Okay, so we're releasing a version. We're going to take out every other word that they say. It'll just be mute.
Yeah, special silent edition. We're going back to silent film. They just mute the audio.
Scott's been sending me like funny, I mean, probably you too, I don't know, but like funny edits where it's like, it's not quite an EIT like style, like an everything is terrible style edit. It's more just like he sent me an edit of the Joker I was like, thought it was going to be kind of a funny edit. And then I looked at the time and it was still like over an hour and a half long.
Yeah, I know. I want to sit down and watch that. Yeah. I just have not had a chance yet.
No, I haven't done it yet either. I want Chisa to watch it, who hasn't seen the original version, just to see like
that should be the only version she ever sees.
Yeah, that's what I kind of figured. Like, probably no way that you're gonna watch the actual Joker, but yeah, that and then like fucking Annihilation with only the cool psychedelic scenes.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
That's cool.
That's like the only reason to watch that movie.
Scott also, I remember, made like way back in the day a version of Transformers that doesn't have any of the robots in it. So all it is Shia LaBeouf trying to talk his dad into getting him a car. That's what the whole movie is.
Oh, I love it so much.
Yeah, this is what media is gonna be now, because like no new Hollywood movies are gonna get shot.
Yeah, I wonder if the found footage editors are gonna take over. You know?
Yeah,
we're the ones. We don't need film crews out there.
No,
going out and filming stuff. Our sources are already out there.
It really makes I know we're like also joking and like. That's true, but it's also like seeing all the big corporate television shows doing their versions of like trying to make stuff at home without people. It like really bumps up your appreciation for like all of the do-it-yourself style media you already loved. Just like watching like these people just flail, you're like being like, God, they were making like, you know, anywhere from like 100 to like millions of dollars, like 100,000 to like millions of dollars a year to do this content. And it turns out like the people who were doing it for free all along were kind of better at it.
Yeah, I just watched one of the sketches on the Stay at Home SNL.
Yeah,
and I mean, it was still up to the quality of recent SNL, where everyone says their lines as though they've never said those words in their life. Like they just, everyone is just sort of like staring directly ahead, and then like one person says a funny thing, and then another person says sort of like an unrelated funny thing.
Yeah,
and then
it's just very like when all of the facade of the production and stuff, like I mean the true strength of SNL is this like crew that puts on these shows and like creates these amazing sets for like each show having probably like 2 good sketches. You know what I mean? Which again, it's like hard. I know, like it's not easy to make a full show of sketches every week, and then do it live. It's a wonder that they do it, but it's just like watching the facade of it and all of the bells and whistles taken away, and just seeing it for what it is. It's just like oh my God. Like it's just fucking, it's like appalling at times where you're just like, wouldn't you rather just not do this? Like is it like nothing? Like it's wild.
Yeah, I feel like Lorne Michaels would just wither away and die if like he couldn't like micromanage like a football player into saying a line that some guy from Harvard wrote for him.
Yeah,
like,
or like
Lorne Michaels
getting Trump on there or whatever.
Oh
my God! If you want to watch something bad, the Tom Hanks opening monologue of the first episode that they did from home it's just so painful to watch a person do a monologue, which is already probably going to be bad, even if he had an audience, but then to just do it to like whatever, his wife holding a cell phone or something, and like to hear these cheesy jokes with like no applause. It's like when people like edit out the applause in like Friends and it comes off as like sociopathic of just like, how could anyone have thought that was funny? Because like even the best stand-up, if you just watched it, if somebody just came to your house and said it to you, you'd be like, this is fucking weird, man.
Yeah. Well, it's something I notice whenever I watch old TV from like the 80s is there's like awkward silences that don't happen anymore or didn't back when TV had audiences. And I feel like audiences are maybe just told that like, you have to laugh at every single word that comes out of this person's mouth. Because like when you watch The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, it's like, he just says like, hey, I'm Jimmy Fallon. Like, they're laughing.
Yeah. Well, they have like they have comedians there in between sets who's just like constantly hyping up the audience, and they're giving them like food and stuff, and they're like doing like dance competitions. I just know because I was like an extra on a couple of these like studio audience shows, and just watching the process is like, holy shit, like this is crazy. But yeah, it's just it's insane.
I mean, I guess there are some comedians who I'm like appreciating who are keeping me somewhat sane just by their like weird video blogs. I've been watching Dana Gould does some good ones.
That's cool.
But I don't know, the people. It seems somewhat weird to like try and hold on to this format of like a talk show or a sketch show when like that's just not fucking possible. Like,
it just feels like I don't know. I get it because it's just like you're just trying to do like who knows what should be done,
right?
But it is just fun, and it's just hard. It's like really I get why people like it normally. I just think it is a different. I would not want to like. It would be a nightmare to sit and watch. Like anytime you've gone to a stand-up open mic and there's no one else there, just fucking leave. If there's just two other people there, get out of there because those people are still going to perform and it is going to be the most awkward thing in the world. And you are going to feel trapped. Like it's a terrible thing to watch stand up without an audience. It just feels strange and bad and sad and just insane.
Oh my God.
And
you know what must be going on is improv. Is there like, Zoom improv going on? That must be the fucking worst.
You know what's interesting? I was thinking of this because Thomas Middleditch and Schwartz, right? So they just put out 3, and I think those guys are like really funny improvers, and I love improv.
Yeah.
I love going to UCB shows. It's like one of my favorite things to do, like once a month or something. And anyway, but like watching those shows and they have a studio audience, still like there's an energy that it's not the same to watch it even on video. And like I don't know if you like it and you dig it, like I'm not shitting on it. It's just like it's just hard for me to take in like they're
I know what you're saying.
They're just making it up as they go along. Like that's part of the fun of improv is that it's just like no one's ever going to see this again except for this little room in here. They're putting on a show just for the 100 people in this room. Like that's exciting and fun.
Yeah, agreed. It's like watching a filmed version of a play. Like I get that you filmed it, but I don't want to watch it.
Yeah, it's just not quite the same thing. Which is like it's just different. Like that always bugged me in grade school when we would read Shakespeare, and it was just like this is why are we reading this? Like this should you should be watching a play of this because that's what it is. It's a fucking play. Like it's not meant to be sat there and read. It's boring as shit. Like
well, that's why I tried to at that time. I was like, shit, I'm not going to read this. I'm just going to rent the movie version.
Oh yeah, totally.
fucking Baz Luhrmann can tell me what Romeo and Juliet's about. Apparently, it takes place in L.A. or Miami.
Yeah, and it involves huge handguns.
Yeah, that's the sick part about it.
It's so sick. It's so sick, bro. All right, man. We've been talking for an hour, and
yeah, it's been good catching up.
Yeah, that was great. This is great because it like socially exhausts me.
Same here. I'm like,
I expel.
I need to get my talking in.
Absolutely. All right, thanks for talking, man. It's great hearing from you.
Yeah, same. I will probably be available again.
Okay, cool. Oh, hey, we're gonna do a Zoom sketch Saturday, hopefully.
Oh, right, yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm down.
I'm actually excited about that, just to hang out on Zoom.
Yeah,
for an hour.
yeah, that'll be fun.
It'll be funny. All right, man. Have a good
one.
I'll
talk to you later.
Yeah, talk to you later, dude.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Bye. Okay. David Allen. Listen to the Loose Lips podcast.